Okay, so I'm going to taught you how to write the pattern for the reversible wrap skirt. So first you need your waist measurement, and that's where you want the top of the skirt to sit. So for me that's 30 inches. I've added half an inch of ease, so that's fitting it's likely to be between 1/4 inch and half an inch depending on how you want it to fit. So that gives me a waist measurement of 30.5 inches. My hips are 40 inches. I want a bit more ease over the hips. I've added 2 inches to that. That's 42 inch. From my waist to the widest part of my hips is 11 inches. And from the waist to the hem, I've measured 20 inches. Although I changed this to 19 because I wanted it to sit just above the knee. Now I'm going to make a 5-panel skirt with a 1-panel overlap. So you divide all your measurements by 5, so that's 30.5 inches becomes 6.1 inches, and my 42 inch hip becomes 8.4 inches, and then I'm going to draw half the pattern at a time. So my waist will be 3.05, so 3 inches, my hip will be 4.2, 11 inches waist to hip, and 19 inches top to bottom. So all I did then was get some pattern paper or some baking paper, and I drew a straight line right the way down the paper. Okay, so that's going from where the waist is going to be right the way down to 19 inches. And then at the top I've measured 3.05 inches. Okay, so that's in a straight line there, so that was my waist. I've measured down 11 inches, and that's my 4.02 hip measurement, so it's got to be at least that wide. And then from the hem, because I quite like a full skirt, I've done hips plus another 2, so it's about 6 inches to there. Then I've made a slight curve, just about 1/4 inch, and then drawn a curve to the centre because the waistline needs to be slightly curved, and then drawn from here down to the bottom edge of the hem, and done the same thing here, so made this line ever so slightly curved rather than straight. I've then added 5/8 of an inch up there and 5/8 of an inch across there, because that will be the seam allowance. Because you're joining 2 kinds of fabric together, you don't need a seam allowance on the bottom edge. And I've then folded this along that centre line and cut double, so this is 1 pattern piece. Then basically all you need to do is cut 6 of these in each of your different fabrics. For the waistband you need a rectangle. This is 5 inches, but you could make your waistband slightly narrower than that at about 3 inches. And this is the length of my waist, which is 30.5 inches, and I'll cut it on the fold, so it'll be twice the length of the waist when it's all done, so that'll be 60.5 inches. So to assemble, you have each piece and you've cut it double, so stitch those together to make 1 big piece, and stitch these together to make 2 big pieces, so you end up with 3 big pieces in both colours, and then stitch those together. So all of your 6 pattern pieces are stitched together, and you do that in your 1 fabric, and you do exactly the same in your 2nd fabric. Okay, press everything together and then put your 2 joined up pieces right sides together and stitch down one side along the bottom, up the other side, and turn it inside out, and then top stitch 1/8 of an inch from the edge once you've pressed it, to keep everything from rolling and to give it a nice finish at the bottom. Okay, and that's all finished. You then get your 2 waistband pieces, fold them in half to find and match that up with the centre back, and then you lie each one right sides together. So the purple one would be right side on this side, black one would be right side down on that side, and you pin it all the way along, sandwiching the top of the skirt between the two pieces, and then stitch from about 2 inches in all the way round, straight the way along to take in the top of the skirt, 6 the waistband, and round at the other end to about 2 inches along. Clip the corners, fold the thing all the way through, press it flat, and when you press it flat you need to turn in the seam allowance along this open top edge, and then again either tack or pin it in place and then top stitch all the way around at 1/8 of an inch all the way around, which closes that top edge. You then need to put a buttonhole. So you've got this, you put a buttonhole the size of your button on the end of each flap, and then you work out by trying it on essentially and putting a pin in where you want the button to sit. So when this is closed from the purple side, this button's on the outside, and see, it folds like this, so goes across there. This one folds over the top, and then that way, left over, that over the top, and then that will go onto that button, and this inside flap will attach onto that button there, and obviously the opposite way around when you wear it the other way. Dead easy.